Check, 1, 2. There we go. Hi, everybody. Welcome. We're back on the Hohner YouTube channel. This is the Hohner Live interview series, and this is episode 76, which is crazy. And I'm really looking forward to this episode. Talking to a harmonica player I'm following for a long time already now. And this is our first conversation. Please welcome with me Brandon Bailey. Thank you for taking the time to do this.
Hey, Konstantin. Great to be here and a pleasure to be featured.
Awesome. Really looking forward to this. And as I mentioned earlier, I probably did check out all of your YouTube videos starting in 2008.
Wow. That's way back there.
Definitely.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, that's crazy. And also, I was thinking about like the whole Harpboxing kind of thing and that topic. And we're going to have a challenge soon on our Twitch channel. And
That's right.
you would also you're just the perfect person to teach some of the people out there how to do this, including me.
I appreciate that as well. It's been a passion for a long time now, for sure.
Yeah. So what was first for you, harmonica playing or beatboxing, or any other instrument?
Great question. Well, honestly, when I was probably 4 or 5, my grandfather gave me a cornet.
Oh wow!
The short trumpet, and that was my intro into music. And I practiced on that for probably a couple of years before transitioning over to piano primarily. And picked up the harmonica probably when I was about 14. And definitely learned the beatboxing after, from listening to Son of Dave, of course, and his super postmodern beatboxing style.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I did notice that. That was an influence on your way. So
Yeah.
what are like the advantages, or what do you like about the harmonica specifically compared to the other instruments you played before?
That's a great question. I would probably say the versatility. The harmonica requires a certain creativity to make something new, right? As you clearly know. So for me, it's just about being able to have that personal connection. It performs much like the human voice, right? So having that intrinsic feeling associated with the instrument, that's something that I can't get, from playing anything else.
Yeah.
Obviously, the cornet is all blow, so you can't really, get that same feeling of resonance, right? So it's a very personal feeling thing. I'm definitely about how a thing feels. So that's its connection for me.
Yeah. So was that something you discovered very early on, or only on your way starting to play the instrument already? Like, what was it that fascinated you about the instrument in first place?
That's a great question. The sound early on.
Oh yeah.
And more specifically, how the sound made me feel. I used to see it on TV and in movies and hear it and, just random songs as a kid. And I used to remember it making me feel really good. And so after hearing that one of my ancestors, if you will, my great-grandfather, used to play the instrument, I really kind of got this personal interest in trying to do whatever I could on it. And of course, that started off very slow. I think for the first 2 years, I could only play Amazing Grace in first position.
Oh yeah.
And
so when did you start out playing? Which year was that?
I can't remember exactly which year that was. Maybe around 2008.
Oh wow.
Seriously. So yeah, the teen years, around the time when I was about 14, is really when I started watching YouTube videos about how to play. So
same here.
yeah. I mean, it's the biggest differentiator. The technology plays a huge part in, I think, being able to acquiesce as much information as possible about anything. So, you know, you can literally learn anything from YouTube, including how to play the harmonica.
Yeah, and for me it was pretty much the same. I mean, discovered the harmonica on TV, and then I went to YouTube.
There you
So
go.
that's the same path basically.
Totally.
And
Totally.
yeah, obviously
And I think
discovered
it's,
your videos early on and some interviews you did with other harmonica players, and I guess we both learned with Adam Gasso's videos. And I mean, that
oh,
was just
yeah,
like,
for
there was
sure.
just like so
Adam
much
was,
harmonica teaching material, instruction material coming up on YouTube.
oh, there's so much, especially in the early 2000s and around the 2010s. You had Adam, you had Dennis Grunling, you had Jason Ritchie putting out a lot of information. There was, of course, Chris McCulloch, one of my late mentors,
Oh yeah,
put out a lot of very integral information about the instrument. And, just those teachers who gave very freely and asked nothing in return. YouTube was free. And back then, you couldn't subscribe, you couldn't really donate through Cash App,
yeah,
or
you couldn't
maybe you could do a
monetize your
PayPal
videos
back in the
and that
day.
stuff.
That part. So it's amazing, really, when you look at that vast library of information. I remember back when Adam hit his 200th video, and that was groundbreakingly unprecedented in our community, especially. So definitely, I think we're a products of the early YouTube, generation. And, so many kids now are being influenced in the same way. And now, I guess, by guys like us who are putting out newer information that's a little bit more culturally relevant for now.
I
And
mean, yeah,
you pay it
hopefully.
forward and you pay it back. And um, I remember the intro to Adam's first video. He said, "I'm going to give it all away." Because that's what it's really about, right? It's
Yeah.
not just some secret book of information that we keep and hold. No, it's free. We're a very small community, and we're trying to get much bigger and trying to spread the word about what we do. So, yeah, I think it's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's the worst idea of like keeping it all a secret. Like there used to be these guitar players who like just like didn't show the neck to the audience and stuff like that, you know?
I mean, yeah, even for the harmonica, that used to be huge. You hear these old stories about
So
the
true.
ancient guys hiding their secrets and never wanting to teach someone, or if they did teach a lesson, being very secretive and very, not very friendly as far as the exchange. And they were, of course, trying to protect their livelihoods. The harmonica, was at one time a way of life for many individuals, and it's it has become a little bit romanticized, I suppose, in that regard. Of, okay, the inner secrets to the high masters of the instrument. And, that's what I loved about Adam. He really did give it all away, all the secrets, if you will.
Yeah.
And which, for guys like you and me, opens the door for creating things that are even newer and looking forward to the future. It's nothing if it's not progressive, right?
True. And back then, I guess I can speak for both of us, we were just like addicted to these videos
Oh
that
yeah.
Adam
Oh,
posted
oh
and
my
Jason.
gosh.
And I mean, I
Yes.
still refer my students to like some of the old Chris McCulloch videos.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I still watch those just for inspiration. And, I really miss Chris. He was a huge foundation in life as well as for my playing. But he had a very focused, very classical approach to the instrument. And he was
Yeah.
amazing, clearly. Um, that's the type of stuff that, when we're looking at today, they have this masterclass series, for instance, for
Yeah.
everything, right? You can do master classes with Tiger Woods for golf. You can do a master class with Samuel L. Jackson in theater. You can do a master class with Timbaland in beat making. And when you're looking at that information, it doesn't nearly cover what is available for free on YouTube.
Oh yes.
And hey, it's part of our gospel, if you will.
And like thinking about the small harmonica community, back then it was also like nice to have competition or see competition online, or like
Yeah,
I was
totally. Oh
wanting
my
to get
gosh, that's how
better.
we
Like
learned.
when I saw some of the spa videos, it's like some random jams going on, and somebody filmed it with their phone, and
Oh yeah,
somebody played a
yeah.
lick I couldn't play yet. I was just like, I gotta do this. I gotta practice until I can do it too.
Well, believe it or not, that's how I originally learned how to harpbox.
Oh yeah,
I was there. I think it was I want to say the 2012 spa, but I could be totally wrong. But LD Miller was there,
yeah.
and it was like, I don't know, midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, and they were doing a jam, and he pulls out a minor tuned harmonica, and he starts doing this beatbox thing, and I'm just like transfixed. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to know how to do that. He can't be the only person to know how to do this. And I studied his videos because he put out a video like 6 months later, professionally done, high quality. And I was like, okay, what's he doing here? And I figured it out and figured out my own variations.
Yeah.
And the rest is kind of history from there. So LD Miller was the originator of the Harpbox. And but yeah, it's kind of surprising that more people haven't picked it up as a fundamental technique. I think it can be misinterpreted. I'll put it that way. Some people might think it can only be used in one specific instance, and I think of it as more of a philosophy toward playing. Harpboxing is really a style of playing because the goal isn't necessarily just beatboxing and harmonica. The goal is to understand how to play more rhythmically and how to essentially play over more rhythmic musics. For instance, what we hear on the radio every day these days, what the kids are listening to, right? How do
Yeah.
you play over an actual beat without it being you playing over the beat, right? We have this thing in harmonica, right? We never play over the singer unless it's tasteful, quote unquote. So it's same thing with harpboxing, and same thing with playing with more postmodern music, more contemporary styles. You have to have a certain sense of yourself being a harmonica within that rhythm, and the goal there is to learn how to place yourself within those pockets of rhythm.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's interesting talking about that old video because like back then I got inspired a lot by it too, but I didn't really work on the beatboxing thing. I was interested in the soloists playing over it,
Yes.
you know?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. They
But
had some
now
heavy
I'm like,
hitters.
wow, I gotta get even more into harpboxing. I mean, I can do a little bit, but like there are more possibilities, I guess. And I think John Pinheiro already asked in the chat, like, what are some recommendations from you to people who want to start out beatboxing on the harmonica?
Sure. Well, to start beatboxing on the harmonica, let's see. I'll pick out a B flat here on a rocket. It's really, really easy, and it's a really great breath exercise. You want to talk about your cardiovascular system and being able to facilitate that almost meditative like breathing that the harmonica obviously lends itself to. This is one great way to get into that. So think of playing a basic train or in and out chord. So on a B flat harmonica, we'll start at holes 1 through 4, and we'll just do a basic blow and draw pattern. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to integrate a beatboxing pattern with that blow and draw pattern. So okay, so
Oh yeah.
sounds
I love that.
complicated. Thank you. Sounds complicated, but it's actually very basic at its heart. So all that I'm doing are a couple of different sounds, and I like to call these sounds the boots and cats sound. If you can
Yeah.
say the words boots and cats, then you're halfway there, right? So boot contains 2 of our sounds already, our kick drum, as well as our hi-hat. Cats can be used as our snare, as well as the T in cat can be used as another hi-hat. So
Yeah.
between these 2 words, you have 3 individual instruments: a kick, a snare, and a hi-hat. Right? You can variate it. With the harmonica, all that we're doing is using boots and is our kick and snare in between our breathing. So I will start off very, very slowly here. Boo. Draw chord. Cat. Draw chord. I'll do it again. Boot. Cat. Boot. Cat. Boot. Cat. Boot. Cat. All right.
Okay, yeah.
So now, rather than saying the entire word boot and cat, I'm going to say the first syllable of each. Boo and cat. Boo. Cat. Boo. Cat. Boo. Choking myself up here. Cat. Boo. Cat. Boo. Cat. Boo. Cat. Right? Now, I'm going to take the syllable out so that I just have the fundamental articulate sound, if you will.
Yeah, just the plosive.
The plosive, thank you. And within that, as you're starting to get used to it, starting off slow, building up speed, you can start to get a sense for the rhythm. It's a kick and a snare. There's going to be spaces where you can play inversely throughout this signature. So I just consider this sort of a natural modern variation to a fox chase. Before
Exactly.
Bailey
That's
was
what I wanted
doing
to say. And
this.
also speeding it up is like same as like speeding up your train imitation.
Exactly, exactly. Like, shout out to Joe Falisco for being the master at the pre-war style. The base of this is what I learned from him in terms of being able to carry a consistent rhythm. I've always been really interested in rhythm and counter melody, and to be able to do both at the same time was always kind of magical to me. So, guys have been doing this for 100 years.
So true.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Same thing, essentially.
That's great. That's the only thing I never checked out. Like, I never checked out the fox chase thing.
Oh my gosh, it's like it's the foundation. It's
I can do all the train stuff, but I never checked out these little like shouts in between, you know?
well, the blues is nothing more than antique hip hop, right? And when you're looking at what a lot of the early founders of our instrument were doing, from the Little Walters to the, well, if you will, Big Walters, to the Sonny Terrys, to everyone who had a certain rhythmic style of playing, be that in the country blues style, the Chicago blues style, the more jump swing styles, you find this interplay with the actual rhythmic elements of music. And it's quite astounding when, you're not really seeing a whole lot of uh, progression towards that idea in the modern fray of playing, right? It's the easiest thing in the world. When you're thinking about hip hop, for instance, right? How do you play to hip hop? Well, you just think about the beat. And that's what most of the guys in the folk era, especially in pre-war music, were doing. A lot of intricate rhythms, a lot of fox chases, field hollers, the whole swing concept. Um, it originated there for our instrument, and it's pretty critical. It's a beautiful beautiful thing to take a look at.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, also just in general for breathing technique.
Oh
Huge
yes,
help. And I mean, I
totally.
love your explanation. Like, this is the boots and cats thing. That's probably the best explanation I ever heard for
Oh,
harpboxing.
thank you.
Because then it's just like, you can use all the drum sounds on the blow, and you don't have to learn how to do the snare drawing immediately, which could be another
Exactly.
challenge.
Exactly. And, the thing about it is, so where do you take that? How do you use it? How do you actually apply it to music is something I've been asked a lot over the years. And there's a lot that can be done with the concept. And it really, again, it starts at the idea of having this understanding of the rhythm and where your breath plays. But what if you take the beatboxing out of the equation? How does that apply to your application in music? Well, let's think about it this way. Let's try a little experiment here. And I'm not 100% sure if this is going to work, but something I like to do in my practice, I have a little drum machine on my phone, and I'll just turn on a rhythm and practice to that drum machine. But
Yeah.
it's not a normal drum machine in terms of being a click track. This is actually a drum machine with the different types of rhythms associated. So let's choose something and maybe around, let's go slow today, maybe around 70 BPM. And let's see if I can turn this up. I'm not sure you can hear this, but I'll just try to recreate something that plays off of the rhythm. Long lines. I'll start to practice shorter lines, shorter interconnected verses. And so on and so forth. Basically, it's about understanding rhythm.
Yes, which is the most important of all the three elements.
You know, everybody says that, but how do you do that?
True.
Everybody says, okay, focus on the groove, focus on the groove, focus on the groove. How do you focus on the groove? I think that there is a direct correlation between the music that you're listening to and the understanding of how groove concepts work. Essentially, different forms and styles of music will usually cater themselves to different elements of rhythm and groove, right? It depends upon what you're going for, but for me, hip hop does that extremely well. There's an intense focus on drums, right? But nowadays,
same here. Man, I'm also like so inspired by so many rappers and their flows.
Well, that's a whole nother conversation.
That's
because
a big topic.
Hip hop is two different elements, right?
Exactly.
You have the music, right, and then you have the verse, right, and how the music interpolates with the verse makes all the difference in the world. For instance, I can give you an example. There's a song that I released recently, 20 in the Tank. And it's actually a cover of a hip hop song by a guy named DJ Luke Nasty. And it's a beautiful, beautiful musical arrangement, especially when you focus on how he interpolates his verses with the actual melody. So the lead melody goes something like this.
Oh, nice. So are you on a B-flat harmonica right now?
B-flat harmonica.
Okay, yeah, let's tell everyone out there what you're doing. So you're starting out with that descending C minor triad and then B-flat major.
Descending C minor triad. Exactly, and it's really just a loop.
There's like second inversion of the minor triad. Okay, sticky, and then it's like natural minor.
Exactly. So, which is a whole other conversation, playing different variations of minor from one harmonica, right? Something you do quite extraordinarily well. But so I loop that portion and I will play the lead or sing the lead. being able to use these interpolating concepts is really what it's all about. Once you're sticking that to a beat, so again, you probably really can't hear this that well, but
Yeah. No, it's fine. Yeah, people really love it. Like Boaz is asking.
but yeah. But
Boaz is
no,
asking
sorry,
about
you had a
the
question.
name of the app you're using.
The name of the app, great question. This is literally called Drum Machine.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it has a little drum machine icon right there.
Okay. Yeah, I love the two chords too, like just like that combination. There's a famous Polish film music song, which also same melody, like. But it's Dorian.
Ah, I like that.
It's like it has a nice flavor to it, like these two chords. I think
You'll have to send that one to me.
Even Howard uses it in his concerto, where he plays this. Same two chords, right?
Exactly. Exactly. Classical themes, right? Being able to push that a little bit more into the modern spectrum. It's
true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like, I also think, and I tell a lot of my students to just like jam along to like different rhythms. Like, you don't have to play to the 12-bar blues backing track all the time and to swung drums, you know? You can play along to...
It's a great starting place, don't get me wrong.
Of course.
But I think for me, when you're telling people about the harmonica, especially younger people, I think past a certain age range, if you will, the harmonica is a little bit more about nostalgia. But when it comes down to our generation, we don't necessarily have that significant nostalgia built into our lives around this instrument, right? So it's more about, okay, how do I use it to my personal advantage to play more modern things I'm actually listening to? Right?
Yeah.
How do I jam along to Katy Perry? How do I jam along to Chris Brown?
I love Katy Perry.
Jam along to Drake, right? Exactly. She actually used a Lee Oscar sample.
I didn't know.
Remember the name of the song, but it was back in, I think, 2014 or 2015.
I mean, I know about like the popular Timber song that used the Lee Oscar sample.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay, yeah, I think that's Pitbull featuring Kesha.
That was Kesha. Oh, okay. But yeah,
But that's actually like if you search for harmonica on YouTube and you look for like the most viewed videos, I think it's like the second video you get.
Wow.
And there's also the one with Stevie Wonder playing harmonica on the Travis Scott album.
Hey, that's a great song.
Yeah.
He's made a few appearances in hip hop over the years. A lot of Drake songs, but definitely most recently Travis Scott. And
true.
Beautiful playing in every instance. Yeah.
Yeah, and I hope there's going to be more of similar stuff.
And I'm hoping it inspires,
Exactly, yeah.
There was a song on the new Jack Harlow album that uses what I'm pretty sure is a harmonica sample that sounds a lot like Stevie Wonder. Though in the interviews, it sounds like it was done on a synthesizer, but it sounds very realistic. They're getting note of the harmonica. Like it's, the sound is coming together in a lot of different styles now. It's really exciting to hear.
Yeah. Yeah, and thinking about the rhythmic aspect, I remember going to a jam session, and it wasn't like a blues or jazz jam session. It was like a groove jam session where a lot of pop musicians went, which unfortunately this was discontinued like due to COVID here in Hamburg, I guess. But yeah, it was amazing. Like there was so much fun, and I mean, usually if you're talking about like building your solo and whatever, and a good climax could be like a high note, and the audience goes crazy if you hold it for a long time, you know.
Absolutely.
But what I noticed, I did do something completely different. I just played like a polyrhythm above the beat.
Okay.
And I continued with it, and people went crazy. I don't know, it was like 3/2 or 4/3, something like that.
Well, you know, that's what's so ingrained in a lot of contemporary music.
Yeah.
So I could totally see how the audience would really dig a nice polyrhythm. You know, it does something to the brain, you know, having to decipher music mathematically.
Because I mean, it gets you moving, like, because like the accents move and all that stuff. And if you think about so many popular rhythms or like rhythms in world music, most of them are like quantized polyrhythms.
Exactly.
So
most of them.
That was an interesting experience, like getting that feedback.
Hey, that had to be fun. You know, that reminds me of, you know, a lot of the looping shows that I do are based on just this simple repetition of something, you know, a couple of notes, or maybe a simple chord progression, right? And it's amazing as to how far you can stretch a very simple sequence. Polyrhythms add a nice complexity that I think keeps the brain guessing. It's not just one stretched out note or one or two, you know, sequence notes. It's really playing with that rhythm, right? So that's something that I definitely focus on a lot in my current productions. And, you know, that's something that really speaks to our instrument, if you will. Its ability to be able to both do chords as well as very intricate polyrhythms.
I told you earlier that I'm jealous of your username on TikTok. It's the harmonica player, and you told me it's connected to one of your projects, which is coming up. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah. So for the past few years, I've been working on a new type of project, if you will, that's a bit more hip hop centered. Hip hop and R&B for sure, with a bit of neo soul. And the idea behind this, you know, kind of came out or came about after I got married. Which I should say is an update to your viewers.
Oh, okay, now with, that's amazing.
2
Congrats.
Beautiful children, and you know, it makes you really think about how do you give back and how do you make that contribution like our forefathers did in the instrument. So the harmonica player is a project that's really about giving back to the community. And can't say very much else at the moment. I have to, wait until everything is fully released. But there will be quite a bit of music coming forward. And, you know, I think a big peek into what I'm doing is what I've been doing on social media as of recent. The song covers and various styles are what the harmonica player is all about.
Oh yeah, everybody out there, you can check out the description box. You can click all the links to Brandon's social media and follow on Instagram and TikTok and all that good stuff. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, also got to get into the TikTok game. I mean, there are some
It's, you
harmonica
know,
players on there.
it's a work in progress. I think we're all trying to figure out the algorithm and to be able to contribute as much as possible. Our guy Isaac here at Hohner is doing an amazing
Oh
job.
yeah.
Isaac Corbett, he's a rock star on TikTok and has some beautiful content that's so interesting and so articulate and speaks so well to what we're
And also
doing.
very
It's
rhythmic. Like,
Oh yeah, he's a great beatboxer, great rhythmic player, and I'm definitely a huge fan. I watch a lot of his stuff. It's it's amazing how social media has made, I think, sort of the lane a lot more open for what we do now. People are doing things that are so on the fringes of creativity, right? And if anything, our instrument is definitely not in the spotlight. It's always been more of an on the fringes type of instrument that we're kind of bringing more into the spotlight as a result of these things. So, yeah, it's great. And I'm figuring out how to better utilize it myself. It's definitely a journey, but you get some great immediate feedback is
yeah.
definitely a plus. Like once you put something up, you immediately know if it's engaging to your audience, which is very crucial in this day and age, having that instant knowledge, if you will.
That's so true. Yeah. Very exciting times for the harmonica, I think.
I would agree. I would definitely agree.
And it's definitely an option to, yeah, just like reach even younger people that hopefully start playing the instrument and
Hopefully
use it
so.
in like
Yeah,
contemporary styles, you know?
totally, totally. It makes the journey forward definitely more and more interesting. Is we're seeing guys like Moses Conkas, who won. I think it was Italy's Got Talent. I might be wrong
Yeah, I think
there,
so too.
but like also a great beatboxer. Um, you're starting to see a lot of it used much more contemporarily. So, yeah, it's an interesting challenge from a production standpoint, I would definitely say. How do you use this instrument in sampling? How do you use it in more, if you will, modulatory music, where you're not necessarily just plugging into a tube amp and being able to wail, but are having to control those harmonics in a certain fashion. But it's definitely a fun adventure.
Yeah. We just visited a school yesterday with harmonicas, with
Oh,
100
nice.
harmonicas. And we
Awesome.
played with them. And I mean, it's always an interesting conversation with them. Also differs, like, if you think about like smaller cities and like bigger cities, like the kids just ask different questions. Like here in Hamburg, they were asking like, "Do you have a YouTube channel? Like, how many subscribers do you have? And are you on
Oh,
TikTok?" And
yeah.
all that stuff.
They're on top of it, huh?
Yeah, definitely. Like in smaller cities, there was no question about YouTube.
Really? Wow.
It's
Okay.
crazy. But yeah, like if you ask them, like, what do you connect with the harmonica,
Hmm.
or like where does the harmonica come from? Like some of them are saying, yeah, some of the thoughts were from the moon, which isn't too bad, you know. It was the first
It was
instrument
played
that
on the moon, yeah. First instrument on the moon, yeah.
that thing, and what else? Yeah, of course, like all the Western kind of like the movie stuff,
Yeah, yeah,
man with
yeah.
harmonica,
Of
that's in their
course.
minds already too. And many of them
Right.
do have a harmonica at home, or their parents have one, or even grandparents,
Okay.
like all the tremolo and octave harmonicas, you know?
That's really interesting. I'm hearing that the world over, that everybody has one.
Yeah,
It's one of those gifts that everybody gets as a kid, and
true. I had one early on
it's
too. Um,
you know, I definitely did. I had some of the little toy plastic ones that you end up throwing away after like a week of
yeah.
banging and
And if I would have
blowing
heard
reeds
like
out.
a good harmonica player earlier, I
hmm
probably would have
hmm
started earlier, you know?
You know, you hey, you never know. When you're that young, it's all about what's in focus at the moment, I think.
That's true. Yeah.
And my kids are definitely teaching me that. It's
Oh, that's
always kind of
interesting. Like,
what's.
do you hand them a harmonica and do they play a little?
Oh yeah. Well, it's funny. My brother-in-law is a really great harmonica player, Kyle Rowland, who's also a Hohner artist, and yeah, he's a great player.
Okay.
So he's been giving the kids harmonicas for years, and the it's funny, they love the instrument. Anytime that I'm having a gig or their uncle Kyle is having a gig, it's it's fun. My son will actually get up on stage and play a little bit sometimes. He's really good.
Yeah.
He's 5 years old, and he will pick up a Marine band and go to town. So,
That's sick.
oh yeah, I'm very curious to see how that may develop in the future. So I'll keep you posted.
I
So
mean,
yeah,
he has fantastic teachers. Like, by the way, for people out there, do you teach harmonica actually?
from time to time.
Okay.
Not as of the last few years. I've been more focused on learning, honestly. I've been studying neuroscience and behavioral science.
Yeah.
I'm currently a neurophysiologist, and that's taken a lot of my overall time. But I've thought about getting back into teaching, so that may happen in the near future.
Yeah. But how about your early days learning then? Like, was it all autodidactically, or who was your first teacher that you met in
Officially,
person, like where you really had like a one-on-one situation?
Officially, that was actually Adam Gusso.
Okay.
Back around the time of the Orphan Star Search, I needed some coaching, and he was very gracious with his time to drive up to Memphis and gave me some free lessons, and that translated pretty well, I should say.
That's awesome.
And but definitely Adam Gusso, Joe Falisco has been a huge resource of knowledge and information over the years, especially for me. A lot of how I play is tonal. I'm more concerned oftentimes with the shape and articulation of a note than just the timbre of that note itself. So I feel like a lot of that I got from Joe for sure, how to really listen intensively. Definitely the late McCulloch. Chris was a huge influence on, I think, the way that I play. Adam as well, but there are a lot of little tricks almost that I do that are very influenced by Chris. But I can't not mention Jason Ritchie as well.
Yeah.
He's definitely given me some really, really good lessons as well. So I've had a lot of teachers, man.
Yeah.
That list goes on and on.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely have some influences in common, I guess.
Oh
And it
yeah.
was right
Oh
around the
yeah.
time when, I mean, Jay Gorn still uploaded videos.
Yes.
And
Yes. Oh, come back to us, Jay. I know you're still studying, but come on. We want to hear from you.
I don't know. I don't even remember. Like a few years ago, I don't remember which year, I went to New York and visited him
Really?
just because of the harmonica connection. We never met in person, and I traveled to New York by myself, and I was
Wow.
there for like a month or something. and we just like enjoyed the city. I don't know. We went to all the concerts, um,
That's
yeah, do all the jam
awesome.
sessions, and that was great.
Yeah. Jay's a really, really good friend and an awesome guy, awesome player.
Yeah,
I mean, phenomenal. Yeah, I can't wait to hear what his next project is going to sound like. It's going to be, it's going to be really cool.
yeah, very true. So what would be, or what was like the best advice you ever got during, yeah, on your harmonica path? Like, of
Hmm.
course, I mean, it could
Best
be
advice.
concerning music in general, but like maybe harmonica specifically for people out there.
Actually, best advice I ever got was from Joe Falisco. Um, and I'll never forget, he told me to always leave them wanting more. And, that kind of stuck to heart at the end of the day. It's very easy with anything that you do to, overdo it or to try to nail your point home so hard that, the point gets overshot, right?
Yeah,
And you always, at the end of the day, want to leave your audience wanting more. And this is true of anything in entertainment. A great comedian, their last joke should leave the audience wanting, right, a reprise. Um, a great singer, your last song should leave your audience wanting, for you to continue. And at the end of the day, it's about attention, especially in this day and age. How
so
do
true.
you keep a person's attention for 5 minutes, 2 hours, whatever it is? What are your creative ways of doing that? And sometimes it is best to step away, let's say earlier than later, right? It's better to end on a good song if that's a shorter set than, you know, to go way over time and you're just kind of bleeding yourself dry at that
Yeah.
point. Yeah.
So like taking that
But
into the harmonica world, playing a solo, like how do you grab people's attention and how do you keep it? Like what are your thoughts on that?
that's a great question. Um, I think rule number one is keeping the rhythm with whatever you're doing. If I were to play, um, actually, Childish Gambino's Redbone.
Oh yeah.
So keeping up with that pace, right? I think is integral to whatever your live structure is for doing a solo performance. Dynamics make a really big difference as well.
Nice.
If I'm
Yeah.
playing something that's more so improvised, for instance, um, it's more so about keeping the listener's ear then. If I'm not focused on rhythm, then maybe I can do something that doesn't get boring, right? Um, I don't know. I think that it really depends upon you and what the situation calls for, but definitely rhythm, definitely variations in overall tonal dynamics.
Yeah.
And, it's not necessarily about technique at the end of the day. It's really just about being really consistent. whatever it is that you are doing, making sure that the consistency is as solid throughout the performance as possible, and make sure that you believe it.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. And dynamics. And I just think, that's what I tell my students, is like contrasts in general. Like, that's something that makes everything exciting.
Absolutely. It's the color of life.
It's like you could grab people's attention in like a loud room if you just start out playing super quietly.
Exactly. And I think
and also the other way around, you could just like scream into the microphone like for half of a second and grab people's attention that way.
Oh, that unfortunately gets done more often than not. Yeah.
Tremulous is my favorite harmonica song. Tremulous. I didn't know about that song.
I don't think I've heard of that one.
Yeah, me neither. Odlikno. What is that? I don't know either.
I might need to look into that one.
Yeah. But what would be some pieces you would teach to a beginner student? Like, what's the first thing you do? The first thing you teach? First lesson.
Actually, I like to start off without the harmonica at all.
Yeah.
Excuse me. The biggest key to playing our instrument is relaxation. And being able to have that sense starting off, I think is a little bit easier than having to learn it a little bit later on down the road. So being able to take a relaxed breath, learning how to breathe easily through your mouth, through your nose, and through your mouth. Being able to keep your shoulders relaxed, being able to keep just almost a meditative posture, right? Because all these things directly translate into your sound, more than people think sometimes. And from there, once we actually do get the harmonica involved, learning how to hold it comfortably, right? And from there, learning how to take a deep breath and how to release the tension of that deep breath. And still, believe it or not, that's my favorite thing to do on the instrument because it feels so good.
Exactly.
It relaxes
Especially
you.
with a lower tuned harmonica, you get like more feedback from the reeds. You can actually like feel the physical stuff that's going on.
Exactly. There's something about that vibration moving through your body that's, I think, very, very healing. So, yeah.
Gregory. Oh, he's our next guest on the Hohner Live.
Yes,
fantastic
my friend
rag player. Where can we watch the film you just recorded the soundtrack for?
Yes, great question.
Oh, yes, I did see that on Instagram. Yeah, tell us about that.
Yeah, well, I recently did my first film soundtrack. It's a movie called Freedom's Path, starring Garen Howell and R.J. Seiler, directed by Brett Smith, his directorial debut. It's doing very well so far in our film festivals. Right now, it is in a film festival tour in both domestic and international festivals. And we are currently in talks with the various distributors for a open release. So hopefully later this winter, you will be seeing the film in theaters.
Oh yeah, that's so interesting because like the harmonica really lent itself to, I would say, express emotions in film music, I feel like, I mean, the man with the harmonica, like, that's only harmonica. I mean, it really translates the whole mood.
It's
Like
very
crazy.
emotionally iconic, and I think that the sound just gives a certain type of feeling and mood to a film, definitely. What's really cool about this movie, Freedom's Path, is that the harmonica is really written very well into the overall story. It's part of the main character's life in a very special way, and definitely looking forward for people to be able to see the after effect of that. It's a really beautiful story, and historically speaking, the harmonica has been around for a while. We forget that it was around before the 1900s, and there is
Yeah.
a pre 1900 perspective, if you will, toward the instrument and toward how it would have been played.
Oh yeah. There's another question by, I don't know how to pronounce this. Guillaume Rodriguez. Hey guys, could you play with tremolo harmonicas in another life? I don't have a tremolo harmonica.
Oh,
Do
I wish
you?
I did have a tremolo harmonica on me. I actually used some tremolo
Oh,
harmonicas in my
thinking about it,
music,
maybe I
though.
do have one. I gotta look. I think Hohner sent me like an Echo Harp once.
Oh, nice. Yeah, those are awesome. Yeah, it's funny. Tremolo harps, especially minor tune tremolo harps, lend
Oh,
themselves very,
yeah,
very well to harp boxing.
that's true.
It's a really, really cool sound.
Yeah. Yeah, because we gave away a tremolo harmonica one time
Oh,
after a
nice.
Twitch
Okay.
harmonica challenge.
Okay.
Oh, Greg is asking, are you using any altered tunings for the music you are creating now?
Hmm. Great question. Mostly no. There's a few songs where I will use natural minor, but mostly these days I've been playing straight ahead Richter tuned harmonicas in mostly second and third position, a little bit of 12th as needed. But yeah, straight ahead stock harmonicas.
Okay, and which harmonicas do you prefer using when harpboxing?
When harpboxing, I don't really have a particular preference. As long as it is tuned to natural minor, that's pretty much the biggest thing for me. But then again, I don't really use any harmonicas just specifically for harpboxing. Um, Again, the harpboxing is more of a production concept for me at this point. It translates very well into being able to produce music around what I'm doing. So, as far as what I do prefer to play these days, though, I've really gotten into the Rockets. They're really, 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 really comfortable.
Yeah, and I
They feel
mean,
like
they actually are louder. It's not
oh
a
yeah, oh yeah.
marketing gag.
No, a lot louder, a lot more air responsive. It's funny right out of the box. I'm able to get what I need without doing a whole lot of extra setup. And I'm not really that much of an overdraw player, so I don't really need the super, super tight tolerances.
Yeah.
But for the most part, my overblows are there out of the box as well, which is really nice. Really, really nice. And yeah, the Rockets, the Rocket lows, the Rocket amps. I really am digging it a lot.
Oh yeah, because that's what we also want to give away to the 3 winners of the upcoming Harpboxing challenge. So
Ah, perfect.
everybody out there, check out the description. You can also find the link to the Harmonicats Discord server where you can upload your submission.
Perfect.
And I mean, people can now always refer back to this interview and you teaching us. So that's awesome.
Hey, glad to be of help. Hopefully, it's a journey. I think that again, the basic concept is to be able to control your rhythm and to create a rhythmic base for yourself. I think that everyone has a slightly different way that they can articulate rhythm, and it's evident in the way that we speak.
Yeah.
Right? Everyone has a slightly different cadence in terms of how they articulate words. So, taking that basic concept and coming up with your own variations and patterns on the basic boots and cats, blow draw, and maybe amazed as to what you come up with. I'm looking forward to seeing what some of you come up with.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, we did talk for an hour. I mean, how can we wrap this up?
Already? Wow.
Like, we could do some playing. I don't know.
I could play something. How about I play us out with something?
Oh, what do you want to play? I didn't get that. Sorry.
Oh, I just said I could play us out with something. I've got a low F
Awesome. Yeah.
rocket here. And I love the rocket lows, of course. How about some Sonny Boy Williamson? Ain't that a pity now? People, ain't that a crying shame? Ain't that a pity now? People, ain't that a crying shame? Wait until it got 9 below zero and she put me down for another man. And that ain't right now. She went and got all my money, all my love and everything. All my money, all my love and everything. Wait until it got 9 below zero and she put me down for another man.
Yeah. Full circle. Fox chase, harpboxing, back to solitary.
Back to the old school. It's the core at the end of the day, man.
fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure, and I can't wait to hear more of your music as well. You've been doing some really exciting stuff. I loved your cover of Robert Glasper's Cherish the Day, by the way. That was...
Oh, that sax solo is crazy.
Oh my gosh, that whole album is great.
That's true. Yeah, wonder if I can still play it.
I'd be impressed.
I'm gonna try to. All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in today. You can check out the description box below. Follow Brandon on social media and see what we're up to, harmonica-wise. And yeah, looking forward to the next Hohner Live in 2 weeks with Gregory Hohner, fantastic harmonica player and guitar player, playing both at the same time and sounding fantastic. I could never do that. And yeah, coming up soon is the Harpboxing challenge on Twitch. So looking forward to your submissions.
Me too.
Thank you, everyone. And yeah, have a good day or good night from wherever you're tuning in. Thank you, Brandon.
Hey, thank you. Have a great one.
Bye-bye.